are we doing today?
Pretty good.
Good. Well, first of all, I think the number one thing you want to do is sort of self-assess. If you're a player, if you're a coach, your unit, your players, and if you're a player, self-assess, how much did I improve from last week to this week? Because that's really the focus for our team right now is how do we grow, how do we develop, how do we get more guys to play winning football? And I saw a lot of progress in some areas maybe not as much. I thought at times, you know, the twos, the second rep group really made a lot of guys made a significant improvement and played a lot better and competed a lot better against the first rep chart, right, which, you know, was encouraging, you know, in a lot of ways. That is an encouraging part of the depth on the team. So I was really encouraged with that. I thought that I was really pleased with the way we tackled on defense last week. I thought we had more missed tackles this week, which means since we're playing against ourselves, maybe the offense was a little better at running after the catch or breaking some tackles on some runs. But I didn't think the tackling was quite as crisp as what it was a week ago. And I think that goes back to how players practice and how they prepare to do that, because we don't tackle in practice, so you got to get yourself in position to throw properly, and that's a thing that's really easy not to do in practice to get by with. So you know, I thought that the balance on offense was good. We had good balance between some of the passes, some explosive plays, as well as I thought we ran the ball a little better and had a couple explosive runs, which there was an absence of a week ago. And, you know, defensively, I thought there was a little more juice, but like I said, I didn't think we tackled, you know, as well as we need to. I thought the specialists performed really well today. You know, punter, kickers were pretty good. We did block a field goal, which was a really good effort by the defense. So a lot of good things to look to build on, and also some things that we certainly need to improve on. Look, I released a statement earlier today about Deontay Thompson, and the statement is what it is. I don't know a lot about this circumstance. We allowed him time to go do what he had to do today from a law enforcement standpoint. And once we have a better understanding, we'll make a determination of what we should do. The players will be off Saturday and Sunday for Easter, and we will resume meetings on Monday and practice on Tuesday and Thursday next week and get ready for A-Day. So, you know, other than that, Bo Scarborough did not scrimmage, even though he's been doing just about everything in practice now, but not get hit. But he looks to me like he's pretty much full speed. Damian Harris sprained his foot in the last scrimmage, so we held him out, and he will be day-to-day, and we're not going to take any chances with any of these guys pushing them into A-Day, but we'll make that determination later on. Other than that, we had no significant injuries today that I know of, so we'll kind of go from there.
Start far side there.
How was Isaiah Buggs adjusting coming from junior college into the program?
Well, I think he's gotten better every practice. I think discipline to play this kind of defense where everybody has a job to do, and it's important for you to do your job and stay in your gap and play your gap. And I think some of that stuff is a little new to him, but I think his effort has gotten better. He's getting in better and better condition, and I think he's played better each day. So we still got to improve on certain things. From a discipline, I'm not talking about disciplined person, I'm talking about discipline to do your job all the time, rather than always trying to make the play. There's a difference in that. You always want to try to make the play, but you got to make the play doing your job. So that's what we continue to work on.
Back left with Tony.
What did you see from the defensive backs specifically, and what did you? How much does Derek Ainsley help with that, with coaching that unit?
How much is what?
Derek Ainsley.
What does he do for that unit to help coach it?
Derek Ainsley, he is the coach.
How much of an influence does he make on the players again? What I was trying to say.
Well, a better question would be, what do I do to help him? He's the secondary coach. I'm the GA. I just help him. So I think it'd be hard for me, who's working for him, trying to help him evaluate what he does. It's a hard question when you're the understudy. So, look, I wasn't pleased with the way we played in the back end today. I thought we missed some 50-50 balls we should have made plays on. And they turned out to be, not great big plays, but plays that could have been good plays for the defense that ended up being good plays for the offense. So, your ability to make plays on 50-50 balls is really big. And we can't give those up, whether it's technique or keeping a guy cut off or whatever it might be. So, but Derek Ainsley does a really good job with their players. He works hard. He's got good relationships with them, which I think is really important. We work really hard with the young guys that we have in here, trying to teach them and help them develop. So I think our players really respect the job that he does and respect him. And I certainly think he's worked hard as a coach on the field as well as a recruiter.
Stay over here with Michael.
Why do you think there's so few left-handed quarterbacks in the game these days, and what makes them unique opposed to a right-handed quarterback?
I don't know. That's like asking me how many left-handed people are there in the world. I don't really know, and I don't know why somebody is left-handed versus right-handed. I guess it's just something innate when you're little that you grow up and kind of do that. And I don't know that being a left-handed quarterback is really, I think it's unusual because there's so many right-handed quarterbacks that when we see a left-handed quarterback, I think it looks unique to all of us because it's not really what we're used to seeing. But I don't think that it really is that much different. I know they throw the ball with a different hand, but no different than if somebody writes left-handed or writes right-handed. You still write the same language, you still throw the same ball. Accuracy, decision-making, judgment are all still important. So I don't know exactly how to answer that, but I know you have to change things a little bit from a schematic standpoint, relative to protections or things that you do on offense that accommodate a left-handed guy maybe a little bit more than it would a right-handed guy.
Stay over here with Cecil.
Coach, I'm not going to grill you on rules that passed today at the NCAA that you hadn't had a chance to look at, but two that were pretty basic that I'd like to ask about. First, eliminating two-a-days in practice starting this fall. How will that affect you in your practice?
Well, I think that player safety was, the reason that this was discussed and a decision got made by medical folks that, two-a-days were a time where there were more injuries because we condensed the number of practices. So I guess there was some feeling that by spreading the practices out more, that would be beneficial for player safety. I personally think that our season is way too long, and making the season longer is not a good thing for the players. I cannot see bringing our guys in July to start practice and having 4 or 5 weeks of practice before we play a first game when summer school's still going on and all that. So I don't disagree with the day off, a week. I think if we thought 2 days was too much, We should have not made it longer. We should have just eliminated 2-a-days and kept the number of practices a little less. Because it's a long season. It's a long season for these players. I mean, we played 15 games 2 years in a row. It's a long season. It's tough to get them back to get ready for off-season programs, spring practice. I mean, it's a lot of ball. And, you know, our format for how we do playoffs, where you got a month between games, then you got another game in 10, 12 days. I mean, that's tough on players too, because they have to keep practicing all that time. So our season is not just the equivalent to 15 games. It's probably the equivalent from a practice standpoint to 17 or 18 games. So I'm not for making it longer, and I probably won't make ours longer. I think what we're going to do is just come in one day early to make up for the day off. The one Sunday we have to have a day off, so we may have a few less practices. But we'll do walkthroughs or something instead of having practices and try to learn that way. But I don't have a good feeling about making the season longer for the players.
And the other one, which we have discussed before, the addition of the 10th full-time coach. Have you given any thought to how you?
Well, I've been very, very much for that. I know that there's a lot of people out there that complain about staff sizes, but we actually have the fewest number of coaches per player of any sport in college. We have the fewest number of coaches relative to the players of any sport in college, ratio-wise I'm talking about. So to have a 10th coach really balances the staff better. So you can have a special teams coach and not have a position coach that has to double up and do that. You know, all these people that complain about staff sizes, I mean, we pay interns really, really little money, very, very small amount of money. You would be shocked at how cheap the labor really is. I mean, almost like criminal. And why we have administrators complaining about how many cheap labor people you have, trying to promote the profession, trying to do something to develop our game and the coaches in the game. Because how much do you develop guys? All right, now we passed the rule where we can't ever hire a high school coach to do anything here. All right, can't have a high school coach for camp. All right, so do we do anything to develop coaching in high school? Pretty soon they're going to make it so that we can't have them come and speak at the clinic. That's because we pay them for that, so we can't do that either. All right, so we really can't do much to promote our game. So now we can't do anything to develop coaches either by having a few extra guys on staff. Then we got a GA rule that you got to be 7 years out of college to be a GA. So you can't be more than 7 years out of college and be a GA. So you don't have any opportunity to be anything but an intern who really can't coach on the field. So I hate to go off on something, but I really don't get it. I really don't. And I guess it's the paranoia that we all have that somebody else is doing something that I'm allowed to do. Everybody else is allowed to do it. But you choose not to do it. Just like when I used to go on the road in the spring. Everybody could have went on the road in the spring. Urban Meyer and I were the only two that went out every day like assistant coaches. So everybody else complained about it. But they could have done it. It wasn't against the rules. So they just don't want to work.
Two more quick ones, or done? Okay.
Are you trying to get me off?
I wasn't sure. We'll go with Ringer.
How important is it to cross-train players at this stage, just for different positions, especially like outside linebacker and inside linebacker, kind of giving those guys opportunities at both places?
Well, I think cross-training is a good thing when a player understands one position. I think it's very difficult for any player to be able to play two positions at one time. And I think the cross-training we want to do is, we want to create goals for guys in different circumstances, but once a guy learns one thing, then to have the flexibility to teach him something else. I mean, Mick is a good example. I mean, he knew how to play nothing but star when he was a freshman. Then he learned how to play corner, then he learned how to play safety, and now he can just about play anywhere. All right, so, but he never learned all those things at once. He sort of mastered one thing and then did the next. So I think that's really, really important, especially with young players, because I thought we made a mistake when Mark Barron was a freshman here. He was such a really good player. We were trying so hard to get him on the field some kind of way. So we taught him how to play safety, we taught him how to play star, we taught him how to play money. He was so confused all the time by the time the game come, because he was trying to learn 3 positions as a freshman. And, you know, that was a mistake that I think we made, and he could have been much more productive as a freshman if we'd have just taught him one thing.
Last one over here, Jim.
Nick, wanted to ask about the offensive line. How did the right side play today, and did they get better push than last time out?
I can't really answer that without watching the film, but you know, we're trying some things there. You know, Lester played a lot of tackle last year. He's done a really good job at guard. So, you know, sometimes we do things because we want to see what somebody else can do. And we want to make sure, like in Lester's case, that he could play guard or tackle next year. I can't really comment on how he played at tackle today. I thought he did okay. And I can't really comment on how the right guards did, because I didn't watch the guys like I do when I watch the film. I watch, you know, each guy every play and get a much better feel for them. But I don't think there was like a major drop off or a noticeable negative in any way that I can comment on.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.